The massive space station hung in the darkness between stars like a jewel made of metal and light. Inside, hundreds of alien students from across the galaxy moved through the corridors, their bodies as different from each other as their homeworlds. Some floated, some crawled, some slithered through special tubes built into the walls. Today was special. Today, the Galactic Academy was welcoming its first students from Earth. Thalrex stood in the main hall with his fellow students, his 6 legs clicking nervously on the floor. His insect-like eyes watched the entrance where the humans would arrive. Next to him, Velm shimmered in his containment suit, his gaseous form swirling with anxious colors. On his other side, Cross stood tall on his reptilian legs, his scales reflecting the station lights. "I still cannot believe the Academy approved this." Velm's voice came through his suit's speakers. "Humans from Earth, a Class 12 Deathworld. The highest danger rating," Cross added, his forked tongue tasting the air. "My people have a saying. Never visit a world where the gravity alone can kill you." Thalrex made a clicking sound of agreement. He had studied Earth in his xenobiology class. The facts still seemed impossible. Earth's gravity was 3 times the galactic standard. The atmospheric pressure would crush most species. 70% of the planet was covered in a corrosive solvent called water. And the life forms there? They were all competing to kill each other in an endless war for survival. "Look," whispered another student. "They are coming." The doors opened. 2 humans walked through. Thalrex felt confused. They looked so ordinary, so small. The male human was average height by galactic standards, with dark hair and a friendly face. The female human was even smaller, her hair tied back, carrying a simple bag over her shoulder. Both wore standard academy uniforms and were smiling. "Hello, everyone," the male human said, bowing slightly. "My name is Minho, I am from Seoul." "And I am Jisoo," the female added, also bowing. "From Busan, we are very happy to be here." The gathered students stared in silence. These were Deathworlders. These friendly, normal-looking beings survived on the most dangerous planet in known space. Director Zelmoth, a tall being with too many arms, stepped forward. "Welcome, students from Earth. We are honored by your presence. Please let us begin orientation." The orientation room was large and comfortable, designed for many different body types. Minho and Jisoo sat in standard chairs, while alien students used various specialized furniture. A holographic display appeared, showing Earth rotating slowly. "Let us review some basic facts," Director Zelmoth began. "Earth is classified as a Class 12 Deathworld. This is the highest danger rating we give to inhabited planets. The gravity is 3.7 times standard. The temperature swings from freezing to boiling across its surface. The atmosphere contains high levels of oxygen, which is corrosive to many species, and the native life forms are universally aggressive." Minho raised his hand. "Excuse me, Director. I think there is some misunderstanding. Earth is actually quite nice." Several students made sounds of disbelief. "Nice?" Cross repeated. "Your oceans are filled with predators large enough to swallow ships. Your land has creatures that hunt in packs. Your weather systems can flatten entire cities." Jisoo smiled. "Oh, you mean typhoons?" "Yes, those can be annoying, but you just stay inside until they pass." "Annoying." Velm's colors turned a shocked purple. "The wind speeds would tear most structures apart." "Human structures are built differently," Minho explained. "We have to make them strong because of the earthquakes, too." "Earthquakes?" Thalrex felt his legs weaken. "Your planet's crust is unstable?" "Well, yes," Jisoo said. "The tectonic plates move around. Sometimes they shake things up a bit. It is normal." Director Zelmoth cleared his throat with 3 of his mouths. "Yes, this brings us to an important point. What humans consider normal is not normal by galactic standards. For your safety, humans require minimal safety protocols compared to other species. They can survive in most environments on this station without assistance." The hologram changed to show various station sections. "Humans can breathe our standard atmosphere without filters. They can tolerate our gravity without support systems. They can eat most galactic foods without issue, though we have imported some Earth foods for their comfort." "We really appreciate that," Minho said. "I was worried I would miss kimchi too much." "Kimchi?" Cross asked. "Fermented vegetables," Jisoo explained. "Very tasty," the director continued quickly. "Now humans also have some unique requirements. They need what they call exercise regularly. This means they must physically exert themselves or they become uncomfortable. They also heal remarkably fast from injuries, so do not be alarmed if you see them recover from wounds that would hospitalize other species." Thalrex exchanged looks with Velm and Cross. Something was very wrong with this picture. These small, friendly humans were supposedly from the most dangerous world in the galaxy. They survived in conditions that would kill most other species. They needed to hurt themselves regularly to feel normal, and they healed so fast it needed to be mentioned in orientation. One final note, Director Zelmoth said. Humans are what we classify as persistence predators. They are technically at the top of their planet's food chain. However, I must stress that humans are perfectly safe. They are friendly social beings who value cooperation and peace. Predators, Velm whispered, his colors going pale. Minho heard him and laughed. Do not worry. Humans stopped hunting for food a long time ago. Well, mostly. We are very civilized now. Mostly. Thalrex felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. As orientation ended, the students began to disperse. Thalrex watched Minho and Jisoo chatting with other students, answering questions, still smiling and friendly. They seemed so harmless, so normal, but the numbers did not lie. These beings evolved on a planet that would kill almost any other species within days. They thought earthquakes were normal and storms that could destroy cities were merely annoying. They were predators who claimed to be civilized. Thalrex made a decision. He would watch these humans carefully. He would learn their secrets. And maybe, just maybe, he would understand how something so friendly could be so terrifying. The semester was going to be very interesting. 2 weeks had passed since the humans arrived, and Thalrex was still confused. Minho and Jisoo acted completely normal. They attended classes, studied in the library, ate in the cafeteria, and made friends easily. They showed no signs of being dangerous Deathworld predators. Then came physical education day. The gymnasium was enormous, designed to accommodate many different species. Some areas had water for aquatic students, some had low-gravity zones for fragile species, some had thick atmosphere sections for students who needed pressure support. The instructor, a floating jellyfish-like being named Coach Vel, announced the day's activity. Today we do basic fitness assessment. Nothing difficult, just simple obstacle course. Everyone will use appropriate assistance technology. Thalrex put on his anti-gravity assist belt. It would reduce the station's gravity on his body by half, making movement easier. Around him, other students prepared their equipment. Velm checked his reinforced containment suit. Cross attached his exoskeleton support frame. Everyone had something to help them except the humans. Minho Jisoo, Coach Vel called. You need equipment from storage. No thank you, Coach, Minho said, stretching his arms over his head. We are fine. You sure? Standard station gravity is 0.8 of Earth gravity. Might feel light for you, Jisoo laughed. Actually, it feels nice. Like we are on the moon or something. The course began. Thalrex moved through it carefully, his anti-gravity belt making it possible to climb the walls and jump between platforms. It was still hard work. His breathing increased. His legs ached. Around him, other students struggled similarly, their equipment helping but not making it easy. Then Minho passed him. The human was not running. He was practically flying. His legs pushed him forward in huge leaps. He climbed a wall in seconds by simply gripping with his hands and pulling himself up. He swung across gaps that Thalrex needed to carefully jump. And he was not even breathing hard. Jisoo was right behind him, moving with the same impossible ease. She reached a section that required lifting a weight to open a door. The weight was marked as 50 standard units, heavy enough that most students needed mechanical assistance. Jisoo picked it up with both hands and lifted it over her head. This is lighter than my backpack at university, she commented. Coach Vel's tentacles quivered in shock as the results came in. Minho had completed the course in 3 minutes and 12 seconds. The previous record, held by a species known for their athletics, was 7 minutes. Jisoo finished 4 seconds behind Minho. Humans, Coach Vel said slowly. This was not easy course. This was moderate difficulty. Really? Minho looked surprised. I am actually very out of shape. I have not exercised much during space travel. I need to start running again. Out of shape? Cross stared at the human. Out of shape? He had just broken a record by more than half while claiming he was not even at his best. Jisoo, Coach Vel asked carefully. You said weight was light. How much can you lift normally? Jisoo thought for a moment. I do not know exactly. I study engineering, not athletics. But I carry equipment a lot. Maybe 100 kilos? It depends. 100 kilograms. That was twice the weight of Thalrex's entire body. This small human female could carry him like he was nothing. The revelation got worse during cooldown. Thalrex injured his leg slightly on the course, nothing serious, but enough that he needed help getting to medical. Before anyone could call for a transport, Jisoo was there. "Let me help," she said gently, and then she picked him up, all 200 kilograms of him. She lifted him like he was a small child, adjusted her grip to make sure he was comfortable, and started walking to the medical bay. She was not straining. She was not struggling. She was carrying a weight equal to 3 human adults and having a conversation while doing it. "The course was fun," she said. "We should do it again. Maybe they can make it harder next time." Thalrex could not respond. His mind was breaking. At medical, things got stranger. The doctor, a cautious being named Rix, insisted on scanning Jisoo after she carried such a heavy load. The results made the doctor call for the head of xenobiology. Professor Zenthar arrived quickly, his many eyes widening as he read the data. "This cannot be correct. Run scan again." They scanned Jisoo 3 times. The results were the same. "Your bone density," Professor Zenthar said in amazement. "It is 4 times standard. Your muscle fibers are packed so tightly we initially thought scanner was malfunctioning. And your cardiovascular system. You have 2 hearts?" "No, just 1, Jisoo corrected. "But human hearts are very strong. They have to pump blood against Earth's gravity our whole lives." "And you consider yourself not athletic?" the professor asked. "Not really. I sit at a desk most of the day studying. Minho is much more active than me." As if summoned, Minho appeared at the medical bay door, jogging in place. "Jisoo, want to run with me? I need to move around after sitting in class all day." "How far?" she asked. "Maybe 10 kilometers. Easy run, easy run." 10 kilometers. After already completing a physical course that exhausted everyone else. Thalrex watched them leave, their conversation fading as they jogged away at a speed that looked casual for them, but would be a full sprint for most species. Professor Zenthar called an emergency lecture that evening. Every student was required to attend. The professor's expression was serious as he brought up images of Earth. "I must revise my understanding of human physiology," he began. "We knew humans were from a high-gravity world. We did not understand what this meant in practical terms. On Earth, everything is heavier. Moving is harder. Simply standing upright requires more strength. So humans evolved to be strong. Very strong. Images showed Earth animals. Humans are what we call persistence hunters. They do not have claws or fangs or venom. Instead, they have endurance. They can run for hours, days even. They would chase prey animals until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Then they would walk up to it and kill it with tools." Velm made a sound of distress. "They chase things until they die? That is horrifying." "It gets worse," the professor continued. "Humans do not just hunt this way. They still do it for fun. It is called a marathon. Humans run for 42 kilometers just to prove they can. Some run for 100 kilometers. Some run for 24 hours straight." Cross felt his scales go cold. Why would they do this to themselves? "Because on Earth," Professor Zenthar said quietly, "if you cannot run, you die. If you are not strong, you die. If you cannot endure, you die." Earth made humans into ultimate survivors, and then humans decided to be civilized. But their bodies remember. Their bodies are still built for a world that wants to kill them. Thalrex looked around the lecture hall. Every student wore the same expression of shock. They had been living with apex predators for 2 weeks. Apex predators who smiled and made friends and helped carry injured students to medical. Apex predators who were kind. "One more thing," the professor added. "I reviewed Minho's medical file. He has what humans call a mild exercise routine. He runs 10 to 15 kilometers daily, lifts weights, and does something called martial arts for relaxation." "Martial arts?" someone asked. "Formalized fighting techniques. Humans study how to hurt each other as a hobby." The room fell silent. That night, Thalrex lay in his rest chamber thinking. Humans were terrifying. Their casual strength was beyond what most species could achieve with technology. They exercised by inflicting pain on themselves. They studied combat for fun, and yet Jisoo had been so gentle when she picked him up. Minho had been so patient answering questions. They were dangerous, yes, but they chose not to be. Maybe that was the most terrifying thing of all. The chemistry laboratory was one of the most secure places on the station. Triple-sealed doors, air filtration systems, emergency containment fields. When dealing with substances from across the galaxy, safety was essential. One species' food could be another species' deadly poison. Thalrex carefully adjusted his protective suit as he entered the lab. Today's lesson was about chemical tolerance in different species. The professor, a crystalline being named Dr. Halshon, had prepared samples of various compounds considered dangerous. Today we study toxins, Dr. Halshon announced. These substances cause pain, injury, or death in most species. Handle with extreme care. Minho and Jisoo sat at their station wearing standard lab coats but no protective suits. This had bothered Thalrex since the semester started. Humans apparently did not need the same safety equipment as everyone else. The station's legal team had reviewed this extensively and decided that, given human biology, basic protection was sufficient. Dr. Halcyon held up a sealed container. First sample. This is capsaicin, extremely dangerous, causes intense pain, burning sensation, and can damage tissue, found naturally on several worlds as plant defense mechanism. Minho squinted at the container, his head tilted to the side. Excuse me, doctor. Is that from Earth? Yes, why do you ask? Because humans eat that, for fun. The laboratory fell silent. Every student turned to stare at Minho. You eat it? Dr. Halcyon's crystalline structure flickered with confusion. This causes severe pain. Yes, Jisoo agreed. That is the point. It makes food spicy. We like spicy food. You like pain? Cross asked from his station. Not pain exactly, Minho tried to explain. It is hard to describe. The burning sensation releases chemicals in our brain that make us feel good. So we eat peppers and hot sauce to get that feeling. Velm's gaseous form swirled in distress. You poison yourselves for pleasure? I would not call it poison, Jisoo said. It is just capsaicin. My mother grows ghost peppers in her garden. Those are very spicy, sometimes too spicy even for me. Dr. Halcyon checked his datapad. Ghost peppers. Rating of 1 million Scoville units. That should cause severe damage to human tissue. It makes your mouth hurt and your eyes water, Jisoo admitted. But it tastes good. You just need milk after to stop the burning. The next day, Jisoo brought a container to class. I made kimchi, she announced happily. Want to try? Before she could open it, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The station's automated safety system detected the container. Biohazard alert. Biologically active toxic material detected. Evacuate immediately. Security teams arrived in full hazmat suits. Students fled the room. The container was placed in a containment field while sensors analyzed it. It is just fermented cabbage, Jisoo said, looking confused as guards surrounded her. It is normal Korean food. The security chief, a being with too many eyes, reviewed his scanner results. This substance contains high levels of bacteria. Living bacteria. It is actively fermenting. The chemical composition includes compounds flagged as toxic to 70% of known species. Yes, that is how fermentation works, Jisoo explained patiently. The bacteria eat the sugars and make it sour. Humans have been eating fermented foods for thousands of years. You eat live bacteria? The chief asked weakly. Of course, it is good for digestion. We also eat yogurt, cheese, pickles, sauerkraut, miso, and many other fermented things. Minho raised his hand. Can I have some kimchi? I miss it. The guards let Jisoo open the container under containment. She and Minho ate it while every other species in the room watched through protective barriers. They looked happy. They were eating something the station classified as a biohazard and enjoying it. The chemistry lessons got worse from there. Humans consume ethanol? Dr. Halcyon asked, reviewing a list of human foods. That is a poison. A literal poison that damages your liver. Yes, we call it alcohol, Minho said. Beer, wine, soju. It is social drinking. And caffeine? That is an insecticide. It kills species like Thalrex. Thalrex felt his legs weaken. He had seen Minho drinking coffee every morning. Enough coffee to kill several beings like Thalrex. Coffee helps me wake up, Minho said with a shrug. I need at least 2 cups in the morning. Theobromine, the doctor continued down the list. Found in chocolate. Toxic to most mammals. Chocolate is delicious, Jisoo said. I brought some if anyone wants to try. Oh wait, it might kill you. Never mind. And these carbonated beverages you drink, they contain acid. Phosphoric acid. You drink acid? Soda is not that bad for you, Minho defended. Well, the sugar is bad. But the acid is fine. Dr. Halcyon put down his datapad. I need to understand. Your stomach. What is its pH level? About 2, Jisoo said. Maybe 1.5 to 3 depending on what we eat. The doctor's form flickered rapidly. That is strong enough to dissolve metal. You have acid in your body that could burn through station walls. I guess so, Minho agreed. It helps us digest food, especially meat. Meat, Dr. Halcyon said the word like a curse. Yes, let us discuss that. You eat other creatures. Most humans do, yes. Raw sometimes. Sushi, yes, raw fish. It is very good. Thalrex felt faint. Humans ate raw flesh from dead creatures using acid that could dissolve metal, and they drank poison for fun. And they considered bacteria-filled fermented food a normal meal. Dr. Halcyon pulled up a new display. This is a human immune system. Do you know what this is capable of? Your white blood cells attack anything foreign in your body. Bacteria, viruses, parasites, they destroy them. Do you know that most galactic pathogens, diseases that would kill other species, are classified as mild cold for humans? Really? Jisoo looked interested. I did not know that. Your immune system is so aggressive that you have autoimmune disorders where it attacks your own body by mistake because it is looking for threats. It is a military force on constant high alert. That explains my allergies, Minho muttered. Your biology professor said humans are persistence hunters. Dr. Halcyon continued. I now understand what that means chemically. You are persistence everything. Your body persists against poison, against disease, against damage. Earth made you into creatures that survive through sheer biological aggression. That seems a bit dramatic, Jisoo said. You drink insecticide with breakfast, the doctor shouted. How is that not dramatic? That evening, Thalrex joined Cross and Velm in the cafeteria. They watched Minho and Jisoo eat their meal, spicy noodles with fermented vegetables, coffee, and chocolate dessert. A meal that contained 3 different toxins, live bacteria, and acid. They evolved on a planet where even the plants are trying to kill them, Velm said quietly. The plants developed poison, so humans ate the poison. The animals were dangerous, Cross added, so humans learned to eat the animals. Everything on Earth is competing to survive, Thalrex finished. So humans became better at surviving than anything else. They did not avoid the danger. They consumed it. Minho noticed them watching and waved, smiling. He took another bite of his spicy noodles, the kind that would hospitalize most species, and gave them a thumbs up. They are so friendly, Velm said, his color showing confusion. How are they so friendly? Thalrex did not have an answer. Humans were living chemical warfare factories. They poisoned themselves daily and called it dining. Their bodies were so aggressive that their own immune systems were dangerous. They should be monsters, but they were not. They were kind and helpful, and they shared their terrifying food with genuine joy. They were apex predators who chose to be friends instead. It was the most frightening and wonderful thing Thalrex had ever encountered. The psychology class was usually calm and peaceful. Professor Quinn, a telepathic species with gentle mental presence, created a safe space for students to discuss their thoughts and feelings. Today's topic was fear and stress responses across different cultures. Fear is universal, Professor Quinn explained, her mental voice soothing in everyone's minds. But what we fear differs greatly. Let us share. Thalrex, what does your species fear most? Thalrex clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Isolation. Being alone. My people are hive-minded. We need community. Being cut off from others is our greatest fear. Interesting. Velm's colors shifted to dark blue. Silence and stillness. My people are always in motion, always flowing. To be trapped, unable to move, that is terror. Cross? The reptilian student hissed softly. Being watched by unseen eyes. The feeling of predators in darkness. Not knowing what hunts you. Professor Quinn nodded. All valid fears based on your evolutionary history. Humans, what do you fear? Minho and Jisoo exchanged glances. Jisoo spoke first. I think humans fear many things. Heights, deep water, spiders, snakes, darkness, tight spaces. It varies by person. But do you seek to avoid these fears? The professor asked. Not exactly, Minho said. We have entertainment based on fear. Horror movies. Scary stories. Haunted houses. We pay money to be frightened. The classroom fell silent. Professor Quinn's mental presence flickered with confusion. You seek out fear? Voluntarily? Yes, Jisoo confirmed. It is fun. The fear releases adrenaline and other chemicals. It makes us feel alive. Could you show us example? The professor asked carefully. The next class, Minho brought a human horror film. This is classic, he explained. It is about a monster hunting people in space. Very scary. The lights dimmed. The movie began. Within 10 minutes, half the class had left. Within 20 minutes, Velm was flashing colors of pure terror. Cross had his eyes covered. Thalrex was shaking so hard his legs rattled against the floor. On screen, a creature with too many teeth hunted humans through dark corridors. It killed them in graphic detail. The surviving humans showed fear but kept fighting. Kept moving forward into the darkness, toward the monster, not away from it. Minho and Jisoo sat eating popcorn, occasionally jumping at scary parts but clearly enjoying themselves. When it ended, Professor Quinn had to spend 30 minutes helping students process their trauma. The movie was not real, she reminded them. It was fiction, entertainment. That was entertainment, Velm asked weakly. That was psychological torture. It is rated for children over 13, Jisoo said. It is not even the scary one. The sequel is much worse. Worse? Cross could not comprehend worse. How is that possible? The monster is smarter in the sequel, Minho explained. And there are more of them. Professor Quinn called for a special session to discuss human psychology. Every faculty member attended. They needed to understand. Humans actively seek fear, she explained to her colleagues. They created entire entertainment industries around it. But more than that, they are curious about danger. In their history, when humans heard strange noises in darkness, they did not run away. They moved toward it. They wanted to see what made the noise. That is suicidal, one professor said. That is human, Professor Quinn corrected. They evolved as both predator and prey. They learned to face danger because running was not always an option. So they adapted. They became curious about threats. They studied them, learned from them, and then they conquered them. Back in regular class, the discussion continued. Professor Quinn asked about human bonding behaviors. You form emotional attachments easily? She asked. Yes, Jisoo said. Humans are very social. We bond with family, friends, communities, and with animals? Of course. Many humans have pets. Tell me about these pets. Minho pulled up images on his datapad. This is a dog. They evolved from wolves. Wolves are pack hunters and apex predators. Humans domesticated them about 15,000 years ago. Now they live in our homes. Thalrex stared at the image. You brought predators into your homes? On purpose? They are not predators anymore, Minho said. Well, they are. But they are our friends now. They protect us, play with us, love us. More images appeared. Cats, also predators. Birds of prey, snakes, spiders in some cases. Humans kept predators as companions. Some humans keep even bigger animals, Jisoo added. Horses, which can kill with their kicks. Some keep big cats like tigers and lions, though that is usually illegal now. Usually illegal? Cross repeated. Meaning sometimes humans still keep creatures that can eat them as pets? Some people are not smart, Minho admitted. Professor Quinn's mental presence probed gently. Let me understand. Humans pack bond with predators. You make them family. You trust them. What about creatures that cannot bond back? Like what? Jisoo asked. Non-sentient creatures, dangerous ones. Oh, you mean like sharks? Some people swim with sharks. Or crocodiles. Steve Irwin used to wrestle crocodiles on television. He wrestled them. Thalrex felt his understanding of reality breaking. For entertainment? For education, Minho corrected. He wanted to teach people that dangerous animals were not evil. Just animals. He taught respect for nature. Professor Quinn pulled up human psychological data she had been studying. I found something strange in human brain patterns. You have what you call intrusive thoughts, random mental suggestions to do dangerous things. Oh, those, Jisoo said. Yes, sometimes your brain just suggests jumping off a high place or touching a hot stove. Everyone has them. Why? Velm's color showed pure confusion. Why would your brain suggest self-harm? Nobody really knows, Minho said. Some think it is the brain testing danger recognition. Like a system check. You think about jumping, realize that is bad, and then do not jump. It proves your danger awareness is working. Your brains test your survival instincts by suggesting death. Cross was beyond shocked now. Constantly? Not constantly. Just sometimes. Usually we ignore them. Professor Quinn shared a look with her teaching assistant. Human psychology was more complex than they thought. Humans lived with constant danger awareness. Their brains ran survival checks regularly. They sought out fear to trigger stress responses. They bonded with predators. They walked toward danger to investigate it. One more question, the professor said. What happens when humans face real danger? Not entertainment. Real threats. Minho's expression became serious. We assess, we plan. We fight or run depending on the situation. But mostly we protect each other. That is the most important human instinct. Protect the pack. After class, Thalrex walked with his friends in silence. They were processing what they learned. Their brains suggest self-harm to test if they can recognize danger. Velm said slowly. That means they live in constant awareness of death. They seek fear for fun because they evolved in constant danger, Cross added. Being afraid was normal, so they made it entertainment. They bond with predators, Thalrex finished, because they are predators too. They understand each other. They passed by the recreation area where Minho and Jisoo were teaching other students a human game called tag. The rules were simple. One person chases others. If they touch you, you become the chaser. Everyone was laughing. It is a hunting game, Velm realized. They play hunt each other for fun. And they taught it to us, Cross said. They want us to play hunt with them. Thalrex watched Jisoo tag Minho, both of them laughing. They were playing a game about their species' most terrifying ability, persistence hunting, and making it fun. They took their evolutionary trauma and turned it into joy. I think I understand now, Thalrex said quietly. Humans know they are dangerous. They live with that knowledge every day, so they chose to be kind instead. Not because they are weak, because they are strong enough to choose. Professor Quinn appeared beside them, her mental presence warm. You are learning. Humans are perhaps the galaxy's greatest paradox, born from a world of horror, shaped by endless danger, and somehow they became the most compassionate species I have studied. They know what it means to suffer, so they try to prevent others from suffering. In the recreation area, Minho was now teaching aliens how to play gently, adjusting the rules so everyone could participate safely. Jisoo was making sure no one felt left out. Predators who chose to be protectors. Thalrex thought that might be the bravest thing in the universe. The environmental simulation dome was the Academy's pride. It could recreate conditions from thousands of worlds, teaching students how to survive in hostile environments. Today was the mandatory survival training exercise for all first-term students. Instructor Zhao, a species adapted to toxic swamps, addressed the gathered students. You will be divided into mixed teams. Each team gets standard emergency supplies. The simulation is set to moderate difficulty. You will face temperature changes, limited resources, and simulated predators. Stay calm, use your training, work together. Thalrex found himself on a team with Velm, Cross, Minho, and Jisoo. The humans looked relaxed. Everyone else was checking their emergency gear nervously. Moderate difficulty, Velm muttered, his colors anxious. That means survival is not guaranteed. We will be fine, Jisoo assured him. We will help each other. The simulation began. The dome's environment shifted to a rocky landscape with scattered vegetation. Temperature was cool but manageable. A river ran through the valley. The sun was setting, meaning they needed shelter before darkness. First priority is shelter, Cross said, taking charge. Then water, then food. Thalrex and the others began unpacking their emergency supplies. Thermal blankets, water purification tablets, nutrient bars, and shelter-building materials. Standard survival equipment. Minho was not unpacking. He was looking around, studying the terrain. Jisoo was examining the plants, touching leaves, smelling them. Should we not set up camp? Thalrex asked. In a minute, Minho said. First, we need to understand our environment. See that clearing over there? Good spot for shelter. Protected from wind. Near water, but not too close. High enough to avoid flooding if it rains. He had assessed all that in 30 seconds. Jisoo had collected several plants. These are edible. These are not. These can be used for medicine if anyone gets injured, and this one makes good rope if we braid it. How do you know this? Velm asked. Basic survival training, she said. All humans learn some of this growing up. Never know when you might need it. Setting up camp revealed more differences. Cross struggled with the shelter materials, his claws not designed for fine manipulation. Thalrex and Velm worked together but slowly. Meanwhile, Jisoo had a shelter constructed in minutes, using both the provided materials and natural resources she gathered. Fire next, Minho announced. The emergency kit has fire-starting tools, Cross pointed out. Yes, but what if we lose them? Minho was already gathering wood. Better to know how to make fire without tools. He arranged the wood, took 2 sticks, and started rubbing them together. Within 3 minutes, smoke appeared. Within 5 minutes, fire. Thalrex stared. Fire was considered advanced survival technology by most species. Humans could create it with sticks. Night fell. The temperature dropped significantly. Alien students huddled in their shelters. Thermal blankets activated. The humans sat by the fire they had built, looking comfortable. "Are you not cold?" Cross asked, teeth chattering despite his heating unit. "A little," Minho admitted. "But the fire helps. This is warmer than Korean winter nights." "Your planet gets colder than this?" Velm's colors went pale. "Much colder," Jisoo said. "In winter, temperatures can drop to -20 degrees Celsius. Sometimes -30 in northern areas. That would kill most species within hours. Humans just wear jackets," Minho said with a shrug. Day 2 brought new challenges. Food supplies in the kits were limited. Teams needed to forage or hunt. Most alien students stayed near camp, afraid to venture far. They ate their nutrient bars carefully, rationing them. Minho and Jisoo went exploring. They returned with arms full of plants, roots, and even some fish from the river. "How did you catch fish?" Thalrex asked. "We have no fishing equipment." "Made a trap from branches," Minho explained. "Basic weaving technique. Fish swim in, cannot swim out." They cooked everything over their fire. The smell was incredible. Other teams watched with hungry eyes as the humans shared their food with their teammates. "This plant tastes bitter," Cross said, making a face. "It is nutritious, though," Jisoo told him. "Not everything that is good for you tastes good." "Humans eat things that taste bad?" Velm asked. "Sometimes. If we are hungry enough, we eat whatever keeps us alive." On day 3, the simulation added its major challenge. Instructor Zhao's voice came through the emergency communicators. "Attention all teams. Unexpected solar storm approaching. Radiation levels will increase significantly. All students should proceed to shielded bunkers immediately. Locations are marked on your maps." Alarms sounded across the dome. Radiation warnings flashed. Students scrambled toward the bunkers, grabbing their emergency supplies. Thalrex, Cross, and Velm ran for the nearest bunker. They made it inside, the thick doors sealing behind them. The bunker was crowded with students from other teams, all huddling together as radiation counters climbed. "Wait," Cross suddenly said. "Where are Minho and Jisoo?" They checked the communicators. No response. Thalrex looked through the bunker's small window. In the distance, he could see the humans. They were still outside, calmly packing up their camp. They did not evacuate. Velm's colors flashed panic. "We must tell instructors." In the control room, Instructor Zhao was already watching the humans with confusion. The radiation levels were climbing to what would be lethal for most species. Not immediately deadly, but dangerous enough to require sheltering. Yet the humans were acting like nothing was wrong. "Minho, Jisoo," Zhao spoke through the communicators. "You need to reach bunker now. Radiation levels are dangerous." "How dangerous?" Minho's voice came back, calm and curious. Zhao checked his readings. "Current level is 3,000 millisieverts per hour. That is well above safe exposure limits." "Oh," Jisoo's voice joined. "That is like a sunny day at the beach back home." Silence in the control room. "What?" Zhao said weakly. "Earth's sun is pretty harsh," Minho explained. "Our ozone layer got damaged in the late 20th century. It got better but not perfect. We get a lot of UV radiation. This level is uncomfortable but not dangerous for humans." "Not dangerous?" Zhao pulled up human biology data frantically. There it was, buried in the medical files. Humans had natural radiation resistance. Their cells repaired radiation damage efficiently. Melanin in their skin provided protection. They evolved under a sun that bombarded them with radiation daily. "Please come to bunker anyway," Zhao said. "For safety protocols." "Okay," Jisoo agreed. "Give us 5 minutes. We want to secure camp first." They watched as the humans finished their tasks, moving normally through radiation that should be making them sick. When they finally entered the bunker, they looked perfectly healthy. Not even a little sunburned. The other students stared at them like they were ghosts. "You survived outside," Cross said slowly, "in lethal radiation." "It was not lethal," Minho corrected, "just elevated. We would not want to stay out there for days, but a few minutes was fine." "Back on Earth," Jisoo added. "Some people sunbathe for hours in radiation stronger than that. On purpose, to get tan." Val made a sound like a broken engine. "You bathe in radiation voluntarily for aesthetics." "When you say it like that, it sounds weird," Jisoo said. After the simulation ended, there was an emergency meeting. The instructors had to recalibrate their understanding of human survival capabilities. They made fire from sticks, one instructor reported. They identified edible plants by sight and smell. They built shelter using natural materials. They trapped fish with woven branches. They survived radiation without shielding. How is this possible? Instructor Zal asked. Professor Zenthar, who had been consulting, spoke up. Earth does not allow weakness. Humans who could not do these things died. For millions of years, humans survived or they perished. They became very, very good at surviving. Their baseline capabilities exceed our advanced technology, another instructor said. What do? We learn from them, Zal decided, and we adjust our safety protocols. Clearly, what is dangerous for us is merely inconvenient for humans. That evening, Thalrex sat with Minho and Jisoo outside the dormitories. The station's artificial night sky glittered above them. Do you miss Earth? Thalrex asked. Sometimes, Jisoo admitted. I miss the real sun. This station light is too gentle. You miss harsher conditions? The concept baffled him. I guess we are used to it, Minho said. Earth is hard, but it is home. The difficulty makes us appreciate the peaceful moments more. Thalrex thought about that. Humans found peace despite living in constant danger. Maybe because of it. They knew how to survive anything, so they could relax and be kind when survival was not immediately threatened. You are very strong, Thalrex said. But you never make others feel weak, Jisoo smiled. Strength is not about making others feel small. It is about lifting others up. Earth taught you that? Earth taught us to survive, Minho said. We chose to do more than just survive. We chose to live. Above them the stars shone. Somewhere out there was Earth, the planet that forged the most dangerous and kindest species Thalrex had ever met. 4 months into the semester, life at the academy had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Thalrex no longer jumped when Minho ran past him in the corridors. Cross had gotten used to Jisoo casually lifting heavy equipment during lab work. Velm even tried a tiny bit of kimchi once, though he needed medical attention afterward. The humans were still terrifying, but they were also friends. Good friends. Helpful friends. Friends who made everyone feel safer just by being present. That safety was about to be tested. It started as a normal study session. 20 students gathered in Section 7C's common area, working on their xenobiology assignments. Minho was helping Thalrex understand Earth ecosystems. Jisoo was explaining engineering concepts to Cross. Everyone was relaxed. Then the lights flickered. Attention, the station's automated voice announced. Solar flare detected. All personnel should proceed to designated safe areas. This is not a drill. The lights went out completely. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. Then the temperature began to drop. Life support malfunction in Section 7C. The voice continued, now sounding strained. Blast doors engaging. Emergency services dispatched. Heavy doors slammed shut at every corridor intersection, sealing them in. The temperature dropped faster. Thalrex's biology was adapted to warm climates. He felt his body immediately start to slow down. Everyone stay calm. Minho's voice cut through the rising panic. Jisoo assessed the situation. I will check on everyone. Just like that, the humans were in charge. Nobody questioned it. When danger came, you listened to the Deathworlders. Jisoo was at a wall panel, her hands moving quickly over the emergency controls. Life support is offline. Backup power not responding. Temperature will keep dropping. Oxygen levels will fall. We have maybe 2 hours before it gets critical for most species here. Can you fix it? Cross asked, his reptilian body already sluggish from the cold. Maybe. I need to access the main systems, but the blast doors are sealed, which means we are trapped, Velm said weakly, his gaseous form contracting in the cold. Minho was moving among the students, checking each one. Thalrex, you and others like you need warmth most urgently. Gather together. Share body heat. Velm, stay close to any heat sources we can find. He was assessing, prioritizing, making decisions. His voice was calm but commanded absolute authority. This was not friendly study partner Minho. This was human in crisis mode, and it was both frightening and reassuring. Jisoo returned to the sealed blast door. I need to get through this. The manual override is on the other side. It is solid metal, Cross said, designed to withstand explosive decompression. I know. Jisoo examined the door's edges looking for any weakness. But it has to have some give. Everything has a breaking point. She gripped the edge of the door where it met the wall. Her hands, Those small human hands that seemed so delicate found purchase in the tiny gap. She pulled. Nothing happened. She adjusted her stance, planted her feet, and pulled harder. The muscles in her arms stood out. Her face set in concentration. Metal groaned. Impossible. Cross whispered. The door budged. Just a centimeter, but it moved. Jisoo kept pulling, her entire body straining against metal designed to be impenetrable. Slowly, impossibly, the gap widened. "Minho," she called through gritted teeth. He was there instantly, adding his strength to hers. Together they pulled. The door protested with sounds like screaming metal, but it opened. "Not much, maybe 30 centimeters, but enough." "I can fit through," Jisoo said. "I will reach the override." She slipped through the gap into the dark corridor beyond. They heard her footsteps running, fading into the distance. Minho turned back to the others. "Okay, she will get life support working. Meanwhile, we need to keep everyone alive. Who here has emergency training?" A few students raised their hands weakly. They were all cold, scared, and going into shock. Minho started organizing them anyway, his voice confident and steady, giving them tasks to focus on. "Thalrex, take these students to that corner. It is slightly warmer. Cross, help me gather anything we can burn for heat. Felm, I need you to tell me if anyone's condition worsens. Can you do that?" They could. With direction, with purpose, the panic began to fade. Humans were very good at this, Thalrex realized. They took chaos and made it organized. They took fear and made it actionable. 30 minutes passed. The temperature kept dropping. Frost formed on the walls. Several students were barely conscious. Minho had started a small fire using furniture and papers, though the smoke was becoming a problem. The oxygen was definitely getting thinner. Then Jisoo's voice came through the emergency communicators. "I found the override, but it is damaged. I'm trying to jury-rig it. Give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes felt like forever." Thalrex watched Minho work tirelessly, moving from student to student, keeping everyone alert, maintaining hope. The human never showed doubt, never showed fear. "He just kept going, Minho," Cross said quietly. "Are you not affected by the cold?" "The thin air?" "I am cold," Minho admitted. "And yes, the air is thin. But I grew up in Seoul. Winter nights were cold, and I did mountain climbing. I know how to function in thin air." "You trained for this," Cross realized. "Not this specifically, but your whole life prepared you." "Earth prepared me," Minho corrected. "I just paid attention." Suddenly, the lights flickered back on. Warm air began flowing through the vents. The blast doors released with a hiss. Jisoo appeared in the doorway, covered in dust and grease, but smiling. "Got it working. Life support is back online." The students erupted in grateful sounds. Minho crossed to Jisoo and checked her over. "Are you hurt?" "Some cuts." "Nothing serious." "Had to rip out damaged circuits and reconnect using spare wire. Basic engineering." "Basic?" Cross looked at her. "You repaired critical life support systems in darkness and cold with improvised materials?" "I had my phone for light," Jisoo said, as if that explained everything. "And the wiring is pretty standard once you understand the principles." Medical teams arrived minutes later, along with engineers and security. They found all 20 students alive, mostly unharmed, thanks to the humans' actions. The station director reviewed the security footage later, her multiple eyes wide with disbelief. She watched Jisoo bend a blast door with bare hands, watched Minho organize rescue operations while functioning in conditions that should have incapacitated him, watched both humans go more than 30 hours without sleep, maintaining focus and performance the entire time. "What happened to them?" she asked Professor Zenthar, who was also watching. "They are different in crisis. Adrenaline," the professor explained. "Human stress hormone. In danger, it makes them stronger, faster, more focused. Pain tolerance increases. They can function on pure willpower when necessary. It is evolution's gift to a species that faced constant danger. They saved everyone." "That is what humans do," the professor said simply. "They survive, and they help others survive too." In the medical bay, Thalrex sat with his friends, all of them recovering. Minho and Jisoo were being treated for minor injuries and exhaustion, but even now they were asking about everyone else, making sure all their classmates were okay. "I have a question," Thalrex said quietly to Minho. "Back there, when you took charge, you were different, focused, almost frightening. Is that what happens when humans face danger?" Minho considered the question. "We call it being in the zone. Everything else fades away except what needs to be done. It is survival mode. Earth made us good at it. What would happen if humans got angry? Thalrex asked, remembering his question from months ago. Not just focused. Actually angry? Minho's expression became serious. Angry humans are dangerous. But we are also trained from childhood to control anger, to think before acting, because we know what we are capable of. With great strength comes great responsibility. You chose to use your abilities to save us, Velm said, his colors warm with gratitude. You could have saved yourselves and left. That thought never occurred to us, Jisoo said, sounding genuinely surprised. You are our friends. Of course we would help you. Cross shook his head in wonder. Humans born on a world of nightmares, shaped by endless danger, given abilities that should make them monsters. And somehow you became heroes instead. Not heroes, Minho protested. Just people who help their friends. But Thalrex knew better. He had seen humans in crisis now. He understood what they were capable of when everything went wrong. They were terrifying, yes, but that terror was directed at protecting others. Earth had not made humans into monsters. It had made them into guardians, and the galaxy was lucky to have them. The Academy's Grand Hall was filled to capacity. It was the end of the semester, and students were presenting their cultural exchange learnings. Representatives from across the galaxy had come to see what the first Earth exchange program had accomplished. Thalrex stood backstage with Velm and Cross, reviewing their presentation one final time. They had worked on it for weeks, compiling data, analyzing experiences, trying to put into words what they had learned about humans. Are you nervous? Velm asked, his colors shifting anxiously. Terrified, Thalrex admitted. But we need to do this. The galaxy needs to understand, Cross nodded. Humans are not what we thought they were. Everyone should know the truth. Their turn came. They walked onto the stage facing an audience of hundreds. Professors, students, officials from a dozen worlds, all waiting to hear what alien students had learned from living with Deathworlders. Thalrex began. Our presentation is titled, Why Earth is a Deathworld and How Humans Became More. For 4 months we lived alongside humans, Minho and Jisoo. We studied them. We learned from them, and we discovered that everything we thought we knew was wrong. The holographic display behind them showed Earth rotating slowly. It looked beautiful from space, blue and green and white. It did not look like the most dangerous planet in known space. Velm continued. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world, the highest danger rating. But we need to understand what this means. It is not just one threat. It is thousands. Earth's gravity crushes. Its weather destroys. Its oceans drown. Its life competes in endless war for survival. Humans evolved in this nightmare, and it shaped everything about them. Images appeared. Human bone structure 4 times denser than standard. Human muscle fibers packed impossibly tight. Human cardiovascular system, built to fight gravity every moment of every day. Cross took over. Humans are strong. We knew this intellectually. But experiencing it is different. We watched Jisoo bend a blast door with her hands, metal designed to withstand explosive decompression. She bent it. We watched Minho run 10 kilometers as a warm-up exercise. These are not superhuman abilities. This is normal for them. Earth made them this way because weakness meant death. More data appeared. Human diet, human immune system, human healing capabilities. Humans consume poison for pleasure, Thalrex explained. They drink insecticide in their morning coffee. They eat plants that evolve toxins to avoid being eaten. They have acid in their stomachs strong enough to dissolve metal. Their immune systems attack galactic pathogens so aggressively that most diseases cannot survive in human bodies. They are walking chemical warfare factories. But that is not what makes them dangerous, Velm said softly. The presentation shifted to psychological data. What makes humans truly remarkable is their minds. They evolved as both predator and prey. They learn to assess threats constantly. Their brains suggest dangerous actions to test their survival instincts. They seek fear as entertainment because being afraid was their normal state for millions of years. They pack bond with anything, including creatures that could kill them, because cooperation was essential for survival. Images showed humans with their pets. Dogs descended from wolves, cats that were apex predators, even spiders and snakes in some cases. They are persistence predators, Cross continued. They chase prey until it dies of exhaustion. They can run for days without stopping. They heal from injuries that would kill other species. They function in conditions we need technology to survive, and when crisis comes, they enter what they call the zone. Heightened focus, increased strength, enhanced problem solving. They become even more capable when everything goes wrong. The presentation showed footage from the Section 7C incident. The audience watched in silence as Jisoo forced open the blast door, as Minho organized rescue operations while functioning in lethal conditions, as both humans went over 30 hours without rest keeping everyone alive. Thalrex stepped forward again. We feared humans would be monsters. We thought Deathworlders must be cruel, violent, dangerous. We were wrong. Humans are dangerous, yes. They are perhaps the most individually capable species in known space, but they are not cruel. The display changed to show moments from the semester. Minho helping Thalrex with homework. Jisoo teaching engineering to struggling students. Humans sharing their food, their time, their knowledge. Humans laughing with friends. Humans being gentle with species far more fragile than themselves. Humans do not become cruel, Velm said, his colors warm with emotion. They become protective. They know the cost of survival. They know what it means to struggle, so when they see others struggling, they help. Not because they have to, because they choose to. We studied their history, Cross added. Humans fought each other for thousands of years. Wars, conflicts, terrible things. But they also helped each other. Even in war, they had rules about treatment of the wounded, the weak, the innocent. They protected children. They created laws to limit cruelty. They chose to be better than their capacity for violence. The presentation moved to its conclusion. Thalrex spoke carefully, wanting to get this right. On my world, we pride ourselves on community, on cooperation, but we never faced the challenges humans did. We evolved in a gentle environment. It was easy for us to be kind. He paused. Humans evolved in hell. Being kind was hard. Being gentle required strength. Being patient when your instincts scream at you to fight or run. That takes incredible willpower. Humans did not become good despite being from a death world. They became good because they knew the alternative. Earth did not make them monsters, Velm said. Earth forged them, made them strong enough to survive anything. And then humans chose what to do with that strength. They chose to be friends. They chose to be heroes. They chose to care. That is what makes them remarkable, Cross finished. Not their strength or their endurance or their terrifying biology. What makes humans special is that they are kind. Despite everything Earth put them through, they remained kind. The presentation ended with one final image. Minho and Jisoo with their alien friends, all smiling together. The hall erupted in applause. It was not just appreciation for a good presentation. It was acknowledgement of truth, understanding, respect. The humans were called to the stage next for their presentation. Minho and Jisoo looked nervous as they approached the podium. They seemed smaller now, without crisis pushing them into that focused state. Just two young students far from home. Our presentation is called What We Learned From You, Jisoo began. When we came to the academy, we thought we understood Earth. We grew up there. We knew it was home. But we did not know it was special, Minho continued. Living here in this safe environment, we started to see Earth differently. The temperature is always perfect. The air is always breathable. There are no earthquakes or storms or megafauna. For the first time in our lives, we did not have to be constantly ready for danger. It was strange. You called Earth a death world, Jisoo said. We just called it home. We did not realize how hard we had to fight just to exist. We thought everyone was like us. We thought our normal was everyone's normal. Images appeared of human children, playing in harsh weather, swimming in dangerous oceans, climbing trees that could fall and kill them, doing things that would horrify other species and calling it fun. You showed us how strong we are, Minho said. Not just physically, mentally, emotionally. Earth demanded strength from us and we gave it without even realizing. We did not know we were being brave. We were just living. But more importantly, Jisoo added, you taught us that strength is not the same as value. Yes, we can lift heavy things and run far and survive harsh conditions. That is useful. But what matters is what we do with those abilities. You showed us that true strength is using power to help others, to protect, to care. Minho's voice became emotional. On Earth, we have a saying, with great power comes great responsibility. We thought we understood it. But watching you, seeing your cultures, your kindness, your different ways of being strong, we finally got it. Strength is not about dominating. It is about lifting others up. You welcomed us, Jisoo said. Even though you were afraid, even though we are from the most dangerous world you know, you gave us a chance. You became our friends. You taught us that being different is not bad. It is just different. The presentation showed moments from the semester. Thalrex teaching humans about hive mentality, Velm explaining his people's art, cross-sharing reptilian philosophy, alien students and human students learning together, growing together. Thank you, Minho said simply, for showing us that the galaxy is bigger than Earth, for showing us that there are many ways to be strong, for being patient with us when we did not understand, for being our friends. We came here to teach you about humans, Jisu finished. But you taught us about humanity. The real kind. The kind that reaches across species and finds common ground. That is the lesson we will take home. The applause was thunderous. Students rushed the stage, human and alien alike, embracing each other. 4 months ago, they were strangers from different worlds. Now they were family. In the aftermath, the Academy's director made an announcement. Based on the success of this program, Earth will have a permanent position in our exchange network. Moreover, humans will serve as Deathworld diplomats.